I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to a very special series. We call it a series for students appearing in Olympiad or any competitive exam. Gauss is also coming up, the Waterloo competition for grade 7 and 8 students. For those, I have a very special series which can help you understand effective strategies in problem solving. These strategies extend your learning and make you more competitive and gain confidence for solving very difficult questions. Now, here before us is a multi-layer expression. As you can see, we have y equals to 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 over 1 plus kind of a series which kind of continues, right? Now, we need to understand how do we sum this up and get to the right answer. Normally in competitions, we have multiple choice questions and we need to figure out what is the right choice. All the answers are very close, so we have to have the confidence of doing it and getting it right. Perfect. You can always join my classes to master these skills. Perfect. Also check our website for latest updates. I hope the question is interesting. Let us see how do we solve it. Perfect. So in solving such questions, the strategy is begin from the bottom. Do you see that? So 1 plus 1 is 2. So we basically are looking at the end point, right? So the tail end. So if you move up from here, you are able to solve this particular question, and that is the best way of doing it. So let's go and have an attempt on solving this particular problem. So I have kind of made a smaller version of this, and we are looking into this portion now separately, right? So I'm just showing you portion by portion, right? So when I look into this portion, what is it? So it is like 1 plus 1 over. What is 1 plus 1? 1 plus 1 is 2, right? And when you combine this, we get 2 plus 1 over 2, or that gives you 3 by 2, correct? So we find that this portion here now is 3 by 2, right? So we can rewrite this, and now what happens? Look at the next expression, which is this, including 3 by 2 in the denominator, right? So let's do that portion now in blue ink, right? So what we have here is 1 plus, let's try to understand, right? When 3 by 2 is in the denominator, it can be flipped and written as 2 by 3. Makes sense? So in that case, 3 becomes the denominator, and we get 3 plus 2, which is 5 over 3. So what we get here is this portion now is 5 over 3. And we will flip it to write this as 3 over 5. Makes sense, right? So now let's look into a bigger one. We'll include this portion also and see how do we do that portion, right? So we have 1 plus 5 over 3 when flipped gives you 3 by 5, right? And well, 5 is the common denominator. We get 5 plus 3 here, and that gives you 8 over 5, correct? So do you see how we are moving from 3 over 2, 5 over 3, and this 5 comes in the denominator. We get 8 over 5. Do you see a pattern there? Okay. Now let's consider the next portion, add the next one also, following the same process. So we have now 1 plus, we'll flip this, right, and write this as 5 over 8. Now as soon as I do that, I have 8 in the denominator, 8 plus 5 in the numerator, which gives me 13 over 8, right? So 13 over 8, now I can flip and finally write this as 1 plus 8 over 13. And now we have this 1 plus 8 over 13 after, because we got this one, has 13 over 8. Makes sense, right? So taking 8 on the top, we have 1 plus 8 over 13 here. And now we can say, well, 13 is my denominator, and I have 13 plus 8 in the numerator. Correct. So 13 plus 8 is how much? So 8 plus 3 11, 21 over 13, correct? So 21 over 13, we can now divide 21 by 13 and see how close are we to 1.5 or 1.6 or 1.7, right? So 21, when you divide this by 13, what do you get? So let's do it here. So dividing by 13 one time, we get 13 only, right? And then, of course, the remainder here is 8, so decimal. And now when you bring down a 0, you can go by what? So if I try 6, you can go with 6, right? 6 times 3 is 18, and 178 is my answer here. So 1.6 is the closest, correct? So that gives you 1.6 as the solution. Do you see how systematically we can keep on adding from the lowest point, the tail end, and move upwards to get the answer? And of course, we have the solution B as our answer 1.6. Makes sense. So what we notice here is that this particular portion which we just added is slightly more than 0.5 or half, right? It is slightly more than half. And as we were doing the addition, if you observe what was happening actually, so as you observe, we are actually 2 over 3, and then we added, we get 5 over 3. Do you see that? So we are slightly moving up, and there's a pattern which is giving us numbers which adds 8 and 5. When you add that, you get 13 over 8. So see, initially 2 is the common denominator, and when you sum that lowest part, you get 3 over 2. And then 3 plus 2 is 5, right? 3 plus 2 is 5. So the next set was 5 over 3, right? And 5 plus 3 is 8. So you get 8 over 5. 8 plus 5 is 13. And so you get 13 over 8. And next, you add 13 and 8 to get 21 over 13. Next one will be what? If I extend the series, you know what, right? 21 will come in the denominator, and 21 plus 13 will go in the numerator. And that is how this particular series will progress. So I hope you have understood this strategy also of adding such layers, multi-layer of fractions. Hope it makes sense, right? So that is how you evaluate multi-layer expressions. I hope you understand and appreciate it. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and in case you want to join my classes, send an email directly on this particular address. Looking forward for your success. Thanks for your time and all the best.